We are back on The Real News. TheRealNewsRadio.com is our website, and as Brian was reporting there before the break on the NAFTA Superhighway making its way back, we have a clip that we want to play. This is Gary Franchi of Restore the Republic, great magazine if you're unaware of it, Restore the Republic magazine. And he does great work. The PASS Act is bringing back Real ID. If you're not aware of the Real ID, it was a move to put a RFID chip in your driver's license. North Carolina, being the bootlicker of the New World Order, was the only state that actually implemented it, but it was supposed to go nationwide. Several states opposed it, but as Brian said earlier, they slip it back in the back door through another way. So we want to play now, it's just a couple minutes, we want to play what Restore the Republic has on what's happening right now with the PASS Act. So let's play that video now.
Dear friends and fellow Americans, I have an emergency action alert for you today that requires your immediate and direct attention. This alert is regarding the morphing of Real ID into the PASS Act. The Real ID, as you may or may not know, was the failed law that snuck through Congress in May of 2005 that will require all Americans to carry a standardized federal ID card with an embedded trackable chip. Now, I need you to contact the Senate Committee on Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs immediately to stop the PASS Act, S-1261. That's Senate Bill 1261. Special interest groups are trying to force Democrats, Independents, and Republicans to support this legislation. States have been and are working to ensure driver's licenses are secure documents and have document integrity. However, the federal government, in spite of the states, wants to set international standards that are not needed. The federal government wants to control your state driver's license. The federal government is bribing states to go along with its plans. We had a chance to speak with Mark Lerner from the Stop Real ID Coalition about the emerging PASS Act just a few weeks ago, and this is what he had to say.
With regard to the Real ID Act 2005, Congress is looking at several alternatives right now. Most likely we're going to see something referred to as the PASS Act, or a bill that Senator Akaka has been promoting for the last couple of years. But the important thing for the American public to really understand is regardless of what legislation comes out of the federal government concerning the issuance of state driver's licenses, in the end, because of the biometric capability that's required for the digital facial image or photograph, all Americans are being enrolled into a single global biometric identification system that will link their body to their ability to buy and sell.
All right, did you hear that? Through your driver's license, they're going to link this to a global database that may affect your ability to buy and sell. If anyone's ever read at the back of the book of the Bible, I believe they said there would be a chip, something under your skin, that without it you would be able to buy and sell. This is incrementalism. It's right now in the Senate. The bill is S-1261, the PASS Act, and I have not seen any of this information on the mainstream press. So I urge everyone to look into this for yourself. This video is on our website under today's latest news. It's the big video. There's one that's bigger than all the rest. And this is it. You can watch it in its entirety. I only played 2.5 minutes, something like that. It's much longer than that. I think it's about 10 minutes total. If you would like to get the rest of the information, I urge you to go to the website. So we are going to go ahead and give out the phone number if you would like to call in. We'd like to hear from you. If you were at the protest last week, you'd like to call in, comment, or on any of the news that we've covered. Or like last week, one of the callers had some great information on how they were staging the news and really added to the conversation. But our phone number is 1-866-986-6397. I'm going to give out the number again, then Brian's going to discuss some of what's happening with the FDIC. But the number again is 1-866-986-6397. If you'd like to call in today, don't wait till the last minute. Go ahead and call in. We'd like to get as many people on the air as we can today. So go ahead, Brian.
FDIC insurance fund. It doesn't actually exist. This is from Vern Hill Seeking Alpha. When FDIC head Sheila Bair said her agency might have to bolster the FDIC's insurance fund with Treasury borrowings to pay for the new spat of bank failures, a lot of us, this 40-year-old banking veteran included, assumed there was an actual FDIC fund that needed bolstering. Well, we were wrong. As a former FDIC chairman, Bill Isaac, points out, the FDIC insurance fund is an accounting fiction. It actually takes in premiums from banks, then turns those premiums over to the United States Treasury, which adds the money to the government's general coffers for spending on, well, missiles, schools, lunches, bombs, you name it. The insurance premiums aren't really premiums at all. Therefore, they're a tax burden by another name. Actually, it's worse than that. The FDIC, persisting in the myth that its fund is really an insurance pool, now proposes to raise the, quote, premiums it charges banks to make up for the fund's coming shortfall. The financially weakest banks, therefore, will be hit by the largest tax hikes.
Yeah, I was unaware that I'm not surprised a bit, but I was unaware that that's how that works. So the FDIC insurance fund, it's not like a big pile of money is right there waiting to bail out all of these banks that are collapsing, which are at a record level. It was 56 now, something like that, since January 1st. It's a new one every week.
So really all the FDIC is just a feel-good name to make you feel all warm and fuzzy when you put your deposit into your bank and underlying tax. That's all it is.
You know, I had mentioned on here one time I was discussing with a lawyer that I thought at some point there would be a new currency, the dollar would collapse, and he told me, he said, your money in the bank is solid. It's backed by the federal government. And I told him, I said, the federal government's $12 trillion past bankrupt with about $50 trillion worth of liabilities that they've agreed to. David Walker told us.
All the entitlements.
Yeah, all the entitlements. And we're going to hang our hat on how sound they are with the way they spend money. But anyway, very, very interesting, not surprised at all. Again, I'm going to give out the number as we continue with some of the news. If you'd like to call in, 1-866-986-6397. While we're talking about different bills that are going through that are not getting any reporting, this was reported this past week, prisonplanet.com, July 6, 2009, Paul Joseph Watson. Amendments to the 2010 National Defense Authorization Act, which has already been passed by the House, would empower the Attorney General Eric Holder to define gun owners, anti-abortion activists, and taxpayers as domestic terrorists in light of recent federal reports that classify millions of Americans as extremists, something we discussed last week at our protest. We're the new terrorists. Former impeached Florida judge and now Democratic Congressman Hastings has introduced amendments to H.R. 2647, National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2010, which would give Eric Holder dictator powers to demonize legitimate protest groups as being affiliated with violent race or hate organizations. And this is what we're going to see coming to fruition with those of us that have been organizing protests in the Fed, Tea Parties. This is the way to demonize us and justify getting rid of us, the ability to stand in the streets. The bill is aimed at preventing race extremists and gang members from joining the Army, but since the Army already hires felons, criminals, racists, and gang members, the real purpose behind the legislation is to codify the move to label gun owners, anti-government activists, and tax protesters as domestic terrorists, a process that has been ongoing since at least the start of this decade. So as we see, Brian, really weekly, we're either reporting that the military is practicing on civilians here in America, or that more legislation is being passed to call anyone that does what me and you do and other people in this area, Mike, Al, other people that are patriots in the area, Brad Cobb, Flint Lock, there's too many to mention, but